Good day to you. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I want to talk to you today about obeying the law. I think sometimes as Christians we get the idea that because we follow a higher power, we follow God, that we don't have to follow all the laws because they're just man-made laws and these men are corrupted and, etc., etc. But I think if you read in the Bible and follow the Lord, you'll see that we're told to do differently. Just like Jesus had told Peter, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto God what is God's. We still need to follow the rules and the regulations and the laws of this world. I want to read to you Romans chapter 13, verse 1 through 7. Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authority resists the ordinance of God, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to evil. Do you want to be unafraid of the authority? Do what is good, and you will have praise from the same. For he is God's minister to you for good. But if you do evil, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is God's minister, an avenger to execute wrath on him who practices evil. Therefore you must be subject, not only because of wrath, but also for conscience sake. For because of this you also pay taxes, for they are God's ministers, attending continually to this very thing. Render therefore to all their due. Taxes to whom taxes are due, customs to whom customs, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. And that fear, you could also change that to be respect to who respect is due, because they have power over you, right? Authority, government, exists because God has appointed us to govern ourselves. Society must have order and rules so that we can live peaceably and not have continual chaos. Make sure that you understand what verse 3 is telling us. Verse 3, for rulers are not a terror to good works. We have nothing to fear if we're not doing evil. They are a terror to evil, right? It says, but to evil. So if we don't want to be afraid of the authority, then don't do evil. We should be doing what is good. Unfortunately, our society has taught so many of us to fear the very authorities that are there to help us. They have forgotten verse 4, for he is God's minister to you for good. The most obvious application of this is the police, right? But it also applies to other governmental authorities. Now, yes, I realize that us being human and all of these authorities having humans running them and acting out the way, carrying out those authorities and those duties, I realize that there's a low percentage of them that are going to be wrong or do wrong. I do understand that, and we do understand that happens. The law makes mistakes. Sometimes a police officer will make a mistake. Sometimes you will have a bad person in a government position or as an officer. That does happen. So those are things that we realize and we have to deal with. But by and large, probably 90 or 95% of the time, all of these things are really there to our good. Okay? So we have to remember that. The law exists for us, for safety, for peace, so we may live and learn about the Lord. Without government and the law, our lives would be constant turmoil and anarchy. As a Christian, we must respect the law as long as it does not conflict with the Lord's teaching. We must set the example and not be disrespectful or uncaring towards others, and we must especially be respectful to those in authority, right? 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 13 through 17. Therefore, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether to the king as supreme, or to governors, as to those who are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of those who do good. For this is the will of God, that by doing good you may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men, as free, yet not using liberty as a cloak for vice, but as bondservants of God. Honor all people, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king. For example, the speed limit is there for the safety of all on the road, for everyone. If you speed, you are breaking the law. You are also disrespecting and uncaring toward all of the other people on the road with you, because you are being unsafe and you're putting others in jeopardy. You are not caring about their safety. Using the excuse that you are just following the flow of traffic is not valid. We do not follow the crowd to do wrong. Christians set the example to do what is right so that we can honor God in all we do. And so we should obey God, and we should obey our laws as well. The only exception would be, as we've mentioned, is if somehow the law comes into conflict with the Lord's teaching, then we would be in a position to stand for the Lord against the law. But otherwise, when we're just selfishly breaking the law for our own reasons, such as speeding, but there's other examples too, we are in the wrong. So I want to thank you for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day. May God bless you and keep you safe. And remember, God loves you.